kind of scary, if it's me.
I am curious to see exactly what the game plan is going to be coming into this, because one of the things that surprised me was how often the Shy got his hands on Rumble. 50% win rate, but still, I think this is an incredibly strong pick. We saw it in the last game. But also, my eyes are drifting towards Chris. Chris, domestically, has not looked good on picks like the Nautilus. He's actually been really struggling. He doesn't look like the old Chris we would have expected coming in off of FPX. And he's been sticking to the Leona pick, so I'm curious if that does open up the draft a little bit more for the likes of Hylissang, where maybe he can go for an early Rakan and actually have, I know, a bit of a struggling lane phase, but way more impact in the later stages.
I mean, that's the interesting thing about both these teams. They're super high variance teams, right? You know, both teams could look amazing on the day. Both teams could have a really rough game on the day. So I do think, you know, from the EU perspective, that does give you a little bit of hope, knowing that, hey, you know, if we play at our best, you know, we could really make something happen here against Weibo, because Weibo is not the most consistent team. We could have Crisp having a really rough game. You could have the Shy having a really rough game. I know even Xiaohu has been getting a lot of criticism from LPL fans who have not been impressed with his play thus far. But as far as all the scrim rumors go, everyone is really hyping up Xiaohu still and talking about how incredible he has been.
I'm kind of interested
My
that
first pick is
they do ban away the Azir, because, of course, Xiaohu was the
Rumble.
Emperor of Sharima himself for many, many years. But the Vi is, like you say, going to be the first pick. A very interesting one. The Kalista that we've seen banned more than picked so far this tournament will be locked away. And that is Kalista Renata. Okay, that's some control.
I'm actually such a fan of range supports with the Kalista. The old meta was always along these engage supports. I feel like this allows you to play so aggressive with the bailout. You can go so aggressive for those kills, get the resets, have the protection from the hostile takeover. And when you show Vi, you're basically locked into playing some sort of dive comp.
But I was going to say, I don't really like it when you could have gone for like Rumble Jarvan or even taken the Kalista Rumble, right? And then you still set yourself up well. So now you get a great counter pick in the bot lane. I think Ashe has been massively underutilized at Worlds against the things like the Kalista. She outranges, you get the slow, it affects her attack speed. It's a super, super strong pick. And now you can even take the Rumble for yourself if you really wanted to as Chasey.
Yeah, I actually really like Rumble alongside Ashe, because you lock them down with the arrow, you layer the equalizer on top, and you keep them there even longer with the cease and desist. But instead, it will be the Sylas locked in here. Sylas hostile takeover is kind of broken.
Yeah.
It's very, very powerful. So already with the ultimates that Nisqy has available to him, that is two pretty good ones in the Fate's Call as well, being able to get anyone out of danger.
And if you're expecting Rumble as a pick potentially on 3, that would be a good ulti to steal, so there are definitely options. Rel going to be the answer here for Weiwei, who I think has been playing kind of out of his mind. I think Weiwei has been really, really impressive. Poppy is what most people associate with him because he's been having those incredible games, but I am going to be pretty scared of him on the Rel also.
Yeah, and it's sick to see Weiwei actually making his way to Worlds. A lot of people expect him to go with V5 at the end of 2021, but that dream was kind of shattered then on that squad.
Lost.
Everyone kind of expected them to go, so it's great to see Weiwei now showing up at the international stage, but also putting up numbers on picks, as you say, like the Poppy, where he's looked great, and playing so heavily around Light and Crisp in that bot lane.
Exactly, it's been all around this pathing towards bot lane, you know, utilizing early dives. Light and Crisp get an early trade, they get an advantage, they stack the wave, they push it in, and all of a sudden, Weiwei's behind you, you can kind of feel the walls closing in. So Mad have got to be careful about how they're doing that, and that's why it's important to pick 4 winning 2v2, or at least a 2v2 that can somewhat contest here. And we'll have to see if Elyoya can play around that as well, because if he's going to be looking for these dives, you've got to cover your bot lane, because Ashe can be really vulnerable.
Yeah, I am curious to see if you end up anyway something like the Alistar. I think Alistar can actually do really well, like, well, a Rel jungle, but also you can cleanse the ultimate coming through from the Renata, and be able to turn that around.
Timer Varus bans?
Yeah, so
what?
Ashe Varus is really strong as just like in the 2v2 isolated. I mean, it used to be.
But no one plays that in so long.
I know, it's been a really long time.
Yeah.
We've seen it crop up, especially in bans in the LCK, but just mainly for respect if you have the Kalista that really does not want to fall behind early.
It's super interesting, right? Because this is clearly a nod towards scrims. It has to be, right? Because this is not meta whatsoever. So clearly, you know, Hilly, not surprised if he's experimenting, not surprised if he's going with some of these wacky picks, but those are 2 of the most kind of lane-dominant 2v2 style picks that you can go with it. If you're willing to go like way outside of the meta, you can still play other mage-style supports like Brandon, like that sort of style, if you want to really try to dominate in 2v2, but Karma's another kind of more standard one.
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely Weibo saying, hey, look, we want to fight this game early. Ari now picked up as well. Traditionally, we see it paired more with something like a Lee Sin or something where you can play hyper-aggressive around the Ari in the mid lane. But, I mean, I'm looking at Weibo going, hey, if you don't win early. You got nothing left in the tank. Silas is going to outscale. You've got Ash who's going to be permanently pushing the bot side. This seems like a bit of a weird draft for me for Weibo. And there's the Alistar I was talking about. That works so well on bot side and sets up beautifully if you want to try and push Ash into a potential dive.
Yeah, this is going to be really, really interesting to see how this does actually work out. Aatrox wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. Into the Cassante, Fiora would be really hype, but I think Chris was just kind of having some fun with the audience for now. I am expecting the Aatrox is a good matchup into tanks, gives them prio, can fight well for Heralds. This is going to be such a bot side focused game, though. I do think for Weibo, they need to be playing towards that bot side. They need to be stacking dragons, securing objectives. And it isn't going to be anything too crazy, the Karma, etc. It is just going to be the Alistar, which, as you said, is great as a denial pick into the Reld. Of course, that's in the jungle, but still, you're able to cleanse the hostile takeover, able to have that ability to engage. But it is much weaker in the 2v2. If you're on point with the handshakes on Renata, you can pull him out of the headbutt pulverize combo, and that is going to make it difficult, I think, even though Carzzy may have kind of an advantageous pick in the 1v1, it's going to make it difficult to contest in the 2v2.
I think a lot of it as well is going to be on Xiaohu, right? One of the big things we looked at Xiaohu back when he was on RNG was how good he was at, hey, I'm going to push wave. I'm going to either match jungle on a potential play in a side lane, but also set up plays. And I think when you're in a position where Light and Crisp need to get ahead, it feels like Xiaohu needs to be the orchestrator there and leaning into that bot side, trying to get control over there before Nisqy just becomes a menace on this Silas.
And Nisqy has had some monster games, in his career as those kind of carry performances, but he is, of course, known much more as that roaming style player, the facilitator. And so if you are going to get shoved in, if you are going to get locked in lane, I think it makes it more difficult for him to really connect with his jungler, to move around the map, to kind of do that style that I think he has been most successful with throughout his entire career, both in EU and when he was in NA.
I think we did start to see Nisqy step up, though, when it came to actually being on, like, control mages. We got to see him pop off and things like the Victor. I think he's actually been spectacular over the course of Worlds as well. His Talia was absolutely nuts. I know, obviously, he still fits that kind of roaming style, but also in the team fights, in these plays where he could step up, it was Nisqy alongside Carzzy who was bearing the mantle for Mad Lions. So this feels like a game where Nisqy can get to strut his stuff a little bit if he manages to scale into that position and pop off in these later team fights.
Tell you what, all I can think about is the Shy is playing Aatrox, and I remember a year where he played Aatrox and he did pretty well in that particular year. Let's jump onto the Rift here for game number 1. And I do want to remind everyone, you shouldn't forget to log in and watch on lolesports.com to earn exclusive rewards for our Worlds 2023, like drops, like emotes and icons, and, loads of things.
There's also prizes like a high five from Atlas.
Absolutely.
They'll actually fly to your country. It's a very rare drop, but
yeah,
nice.
It is a rare drop. I elected to lose all my money on flights. That's what I aim to do. It's all out of my own pocket. Right, did not agree to that.
Man of the people.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Sometimes you just want to give it back. Why would you do this to me on broadcast?
I don't know. I mean, you just kept going with it.
Yeah, I know, but I had to. I had to double down. It's the only option that you have.
Respect.
Speaking of, actually, I think that Mad have put together a really, really great draft. You guys already illustrated it after the picks were locked in. How much of it is going to matter is going to be my big question, because the Shy has a fair bit of comfort in his hands on this Aatrox. Xiaohu, a fantastic Ahri player, but I think that the Ahri is the thing that sticks out to me the most as far as this Weibo composition is concerned, because it doesn't add to the AoE wombo that the rest of the picks really lend themselves to.
I mean, it's essentially a self-counter, right? We got to see Silas coming in an awful lot of the times against things like the Ahri, because you're like, oh, okay, we can actually try and scale into this game. You're not really going to get pushed out by Ahri, especially when you have the Doran Shield Star, you take second wind, and then you get to a 2-item spike where you're just going to have way more opportunities to pop off in the team fights. And that's why I think Xiaohu needs to start trying to get these roams off early, like try and punish the fact you will get push, but try and get into these side lanes and put yourself as a deficit to let light shine.
And this was kind of the concern I had when they locked in the Alistar, is that this 2v2 is going to go really rough for you in those early levels. And we'll have to see, if Light can put himself in that really advantageous position. And I also do still have concerns about the fact that you're playing 4 melee into Renata. And if you don't have multiple angles of attack, you're going to be walking straight into hostile takeover, and you can see Carzzy getting chunked down so heavily. Crisp is playing past the minion waves. Hilly's level 1. You've got nothing to be afraid of, and honestly, you don't have to worry until he's level 3, so you can really play quite aggressively in this position.
Yeah, good call from Weibo to basically do what they traditionally do, which is, hey, somehow we're going to play around bot side. Either we're going to do 3 camps on the bot side into an immediate gank, or we're just going to clear our top and make sure that, hey, Light and Crisp can now get control of this bot side. They get the shove with the ranged advantage, and Weiwei now, spot on a ward, though. I don't know if they can try and really do anything. Elyoya will also be spotted on the ward himself.
But yeah, Elyoya moving down towards bot because he has the inside track here. Will be spotted, but he's still moving up. Does now notice the ward, so will go back because if you try to overextend for that, Weiwei, you know, could respawn and be down there pretty quickly.
Charm just barely going to go wide here onto Niski, who is doing his very best to avoid these abilities. The Orbit Deception going to go wide, and that would have been enough to send him home, but he's going to go home anyway. Shy and Chasey just battling this one out. Of course, both Korean top laners that didn't really play in Korea. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think Chasey, though, has had a little bit of a different story to the Shy. The Shy obviously reaching very, very high heights.
Yeah, a bit of a different story.
I would say that the story is a little bit... The one fact that I had was probably the only one that's similar.
But that's the thing. For Chasey, I think it's been a little bit of a sad time. We did get to see him back in spring playoffs where he had these pop-off games like Kasante that kept ad lines in contention and actually end up helping them win that spring, but unfortunately hasn't really hit those high highs ever since. Has actually been punished for a lot of laning mistakes. So I think the Shy, definitely a player that would look to do so, is also on bot side. Lane mistakes might be punished again.
We have seen this so many times. Weiwei down bot, stacked wave. Let's see the dive.
Yeah, well, he is going to headbutt Weiwei away, but he can just get back down here. There is Kazi. The cleanse doesn't quite work out. That's going to be first blood. Going over to Light. Crisp wants to get the bailout. Doesn't quite work, but they'll take that one.
But that was beautifully done by Crisp. Doesn't waste his flash. Hylissang commits everything to try to get this kill over on a Crisp, and Crisp says, sure, I'll just bail myself out and use that as additional tanking time. It's critical, though, that Karzi was one of the ones that got the kill, because otherwise he would be completely out of this. When he's down 13 CS plus the kill, he needed something back to stay relevant in the 2v2.
I mean, the fact, though, that, again, you're kind of seeing this play from Weibo, it's their bread and butter at this stage. No wards, no real cover there for Mad to come and expect it. So Weibo, they will still get a decent advantage when they got the kills over.
This was my big concern, you know, with going with the Alistar. Alistar is a great teamfight pick, but if you don't pick something that can contest in the 2v2, Weibo have shown time and time and time again that this is the play that they're going to go for. The initial moves here from Mad, pretty good to dodge out on the handshake. You know, that's nice from Karzi dodging forward, but then he just pulls aggro with the Ignite. Hilly flashes forward to make sure they can't step out of turret range, so they do get the one kill back. But at the end of the day, he just tanks it with the bailout. They get the kill, they get the plate, they get the denial of the CS, and Light is going to be in a really good spot once he picks up all this farm.
Yeah, we might get an idea as to why this Kalista has been basically permanently banned throughout the world's Swiss stage. See whether Light is going to be the one that's going to be able to make that one work. As of course, difficult matchup in the Ashe, as we illustrated earlier, but not if the Ashe has 0 gold. As Crisp is walking forward, you can see Weiwei's making his way down once again.
3v3.
He's going to push him away, and that is a good roam there from Niski as well to make sure that he is in the river. Oh, he's actually going to cancel the back, and now Hylissang is in so much trouble. There's the handshake, and that is just free stake here for Weibo.
Yeah, it's a freebie as Xiaohu came back. Niski was the added man that I think made Mad feel confident that they could move down and, hey, we have our mid laner here. We can actually match this play. But Xiaohu shows up, and all of a sudden, your 2v2 is hard losing. You don't have the flash from the earlier play, so you give over another freebie here to Light, and you're going to lose the Dragon. And the gold lead already really opening up.
And this is what we used to talk about a lot when Xiaohu was on RNG, was how good he was able to lean two sides, match what his mid laner was doing, understand what needed to happen on the map. And Xiaohu spots out Niski, Weiwei's already positioned in river, and there's no real way for Mad Lions to try and collapse on bot side. So now they'll end up setting themselves up for Dragon. They have full control over this bot side, and Niski wants to try and make something happen.
Yeah, looking for the 1v1. Doesn't land the chains, though, onto Xiaohu. And Xiaohu's just going to be able to clear out the wave. And that is not so much gained here for Mad. Still unable to really find a foothold in this game whatsoever. Weibo Gaming just kind of taking whatever they would like. Let's have a look at this one more time.
Yeah, and it's really all about the map, right? You're looking at the map. They had this extra man moving down, or so they thought. So that's why they're playing so far up, so aggressively, because Hilly's trying to bait them into the fight. They think they have a 4v3 setup, but when it's a 4v4 and you don't win it, all of a sudden, Hilly's just going to be that free kill.
And now you get to continue this pressure on the bot side for Light and Crisp. You picked up the level 6 for Light, so you can start to play heavily aggressive around Crisp as well. Plus the fact you have full control on this bot side means that you actually open up the opportunity for Crisp to start roaming up towards the Dragon if you're, Rift Herald if you really want to. I think the only thing you do have to be a little bit careful of is like a random Karzi ult moving up towards that Rift Herald and kind of changing that fight in favor of Mad. But honestly, with the amount of control the Shy has in mid, Xiaohu has in mid, Shy has in top, Xiaohu has in mid. It makes it very difficult then for Mad to really in a position to contest it.
All right, now you can just see some trading here towards the top side as the Infernal Chains are not going to be broken. Shy going to win that one out very, very effectively against Chasey, who's doing his best to hold on, is in the farm department at least. Rift Herald is about to spawn.
I was slightly surprised that Chasey actually went with the Sheen first buy, because the Shy is basically just refusing to trade actual autos with him, right? He's just poking him down. And the Sheen is going to do nothing for you if you can't actually get in for those grasp autos, those trades. Shy's playing really well around it, making those little adaptations. He says, well, we don't need to trade melee. I can just be a spellcaster. I'm just going to press Qs on you and keep backing it up and slowly chip you down, because the Sheen is worthless if you're not actually getting in the mix.
It's also the fact that oftentimes you see the Thornmail rush into champions like the Aatrox. We don't necessarily like it all that much, but it is something that you can certainly do. Chasey not going to go that direction, at least not for now. And we'll see whether he can get any of that grasp value. Mad over-indexing here towards this bottom side of the map. That is going to mean a free Herald goes over towards Weiwei. We'll see where he decides to put that one down, as Arrow is going to fly through, connects onto Xiaohu. There's the Chain Lash, as well as Niski is trying to get enough damage here. The Flash Spirit Rush is going to come through, though, and Ari, a very difficult champion to lock down. Weiwei now having to deal with Niski as well. He has a Magnet Storm, as now Cease and Desist comes through as well, and the Realm may not be as lucky, but he's got Flash. He's going to try and flash away. The Charm is decent, and they do eventually pick the kill off. Niski collects one for Mad.
The Charm was huge there. It actually prevented Niski from going over the wall. Sets up beautifully, but Niski wants a bit more. Not going to be able to get it as Xiao, who's able to clear out the wave. Mad Lions, they thought they had the play, and Weibo turn it around.
Yeah, they do end up getting that kill, at the end of the day, but it did cost them a lot, right? They kill off Weiwei, but it is 3 flashes committed there, plus a lot of ultis, and now no flash, no ulti.
The Hex Splash comes in, that's the Abscond. It's a decent charm, but it's just going to delay the inevitable. Xiaohu goes down, and they'll take a plate for their trouble as well.
I mean, greedy play coming through from Xiaohu. He was winning heavily on bot side. You can see that freeze is going to cause McCarthy issues as he's trying to make his way back into lane, but he's going to lose out on all this CS. Elyoya trying to play alongside them, but Weiwei's in the area.
Oh dear, he has to flash to get himself out of the way. That is going to be the Shattering Strike to get a stun, but not too much more, as Hylissang is going to at least tell everyone to stop the fighting. They will acquiesce for now, but here towards the top side, Chasey is continuing just to have a really tough time into the Shy's Aatrox.
And honestly, in these matchups, it just kind of gets less and less fun as they get more levels, more CDR. You're constantly getting chipped away at. So we'll see. Weibo trying to threaten that dive. They had pulled Weiwei down once more, but this time Elyoya is in range to answer, so they're not going to go for anything super aggressive. But still, it is that 20 CS lead. It is this initial play here, though, with the arrow starting it off.
Yeah, I mean, Niski here, you can see, goes in, holds on to the dash because he wants to try and follow with the chains, but I think they actually time out. So it ends up Niski then following up onto Weiwei instead. And you'll see just here in a second, as they go in over the wall, Weiwei is waddling for dear life to get over this wall, but the Charm stops Niski from following over, sends him back into the position, but Hilly already there to try and follow up, and then Hilly again making the difference here.
Yeah, this is just great from Hilly. He committed the flash on the previous play, now makes use of the Axe Flash. No flash, no ult available for Xiaohu. Could be in trouble.
Yeah, there's the Cease and Desist. The Spirit Rush is going to come through. Stolen away by Niski. The arrow is unnecessary, but looked cool. And here on the bottom side, Weibo Gaming are going to answer back.
This is not the Mad Lions that we see in the LEC, though. They don't play for Niski. They don't play to try and set him up. And right now, he's sitting at 3-0. Now, yes, Weibo are getting big leads and big advantages on this bot side, but this game is starting to turn into light versus Niski.
It really is. Niski 3-0 at this point. They are going to be able to get the first tower here, and Hilly may regret his positioning as that tower is going down.
Yeah, he's trying to get rid of Weiwei. He's lit on fire as well. There is the Magnet Storm, the Shattering Strike, and the Cow. Not a whole lot of places to go, but does have a decent amount of durability, but I don't think Gazi's going to offer enough back. Some more headbutts to come through here, but look at all those sticks, and they are going to be wrenched out for the kill for Light. Meanwhile, on the top side, can they do anything? The answer might be no.
It's no, and now with Hilly just giving over a freebie, it's like, why are you there? You're under the tower. It's at what? Not even 10% health, I want to say. He gives over the death, and that means that they can push on the tier 2 as well now. There's a TP here from Niski, though, trying to punish.
Yeah, he's going to try and find these chains, connects them there. Xiaohu, not a whole lot of places to go. He gets some plate gold, but that might be the consolation. Gets the Everfrost. Charm's going to connect as he dabs and grabs the kill with a Q. That was pretty clean.
I mean, really cool stuff from Niski, managing to get that kill 4 to his name at the moment. And now he really needs to be the one that carries Mad Lions forward in this game. You can see the setup here. Immediate ult coming through. Xiaohu tries to get away, but the lockup from the Vi, the Everfrost, and the Silas is too much. But as Azale was saying, why in the name of God is Hilly here? There is nothing he's going to do to hold on to this turret.
Yeah.
And they're going to be able to finish him off.
I mean, you look at the map, Carsey's still over here. He's not even there yet, right? It wasn't even like he was close. There was no one else moving down. There's nothing going on there. So he just gives over a freebie, loses the ulti, and it allows him to push on the tier 2. But then Nisqy, again, great punish here on Xiaohu, was pushed up, didn't see the TP coming through, no flash, no ult. Mad have just been relentless in punishing Xiaohu here in mid lane. Every single time he's missing those resources, they're there to kill him.
But this is where now Nisqy needs to try and find ways to punish Weibo and get around Crisp's ultimate. Because yes, you've got Nisqy who's absolutely massive, but Light is just as big. And the big thing that you have to try and find is ways to disassociate Light from Crisp, because those ultimates are going to be a pain. The lockup that Renata can offer is going to be a pain. And even Light just having the, hey, I'm going to yoink Crisp and send his body to deal with you is also an option. So this is where Elyoya and Nisqy have to work together to shut down Light in these fights.
See what they can actually do. Xiaohu moving towards that top side. You can see there is no one up there. Managed to get that shove onto the outer turret. Nisqy going to clean that one up. Does mean that a lot of the gold for Mad is now far and away from any potential engagement. 4 minutes, though, on this next Dragon. And only 35 seconds on the Herald. Could be the next moment after this siege from Weibo in the mid lane. Hylissang off on the side. You can see now Nisqy's moving down, but Hylissang's already taken so much damage. The autos fly through the rend, not enough to grab that kill, as the MasterCard lane economy snapshot is not great for Mad unless you just look at mid lane.
I mean, it's great for Nisqy. It's not great for the rest of them, though, as Light is monstrously ahead here on this Kalista. And when you are playing a composition like this that is built to enable him with Renata behind him, that's a position for success.
They managed to get the cleanse. There's the hostile takeover as Light is able to get through it. Yeah, really cute with the Pierce.
That was actually really cool. Yeah, hops forward with that Q, knowing that that's not gonna hit anything. It's delaying the auto attack time there, plus gets in the extra space there. So well played, and now just gonna move straight over to this. They want to keep stacking these objectives.
Yeah, I mean, Weibo just know, hey, look, that was kind of everything used by Mad to see if they get in there. Hilly has to go for the reset, so let's go for this. But the damage isn't quite there. Now Weibo are in trouble.
Yeah, Handshake is actually going to miss as Elyoya gets in there. Weiwei is able to take down this Rift Herald, but there's the Everfrost. The Rel's in so much trouble. Hostile takeover. He flashes the wall again, but Nisqy flashes over as well. Everfrost is decent from Xiaohu, who flashes away from the situation. Handshake doesn't quite work out as finally Chris will go down, and also they're able to get over and clear out Weiwei, but here comes the Shy, trying to stack up these Qs, but he's CC'd. Oh, the core drink is massive, but it's not enough, and Mad answer back.
Mad are not G2. They will not let the Shy take this fight out of their hands. They flash over the wall. They punish Weibo because they can't take the Rift Herald. And Mad, this is the moment we're talking about. When you doubt them the most, they just come alive.
Matter's popping off in this game as Weibo looked like they wanted to re-engage. You can see there was some hesitation until all of the extra members showed up there from Mad. You know, even when Light pulls out Crisp there with the ulti, you know, this is the initial play. Weiwei is going to kind of have to give his life to be able to claim this Herald. So he realizes, okay, I can't actually get out, so I'm just going to go forward and grab this up. Crisp gets ulted over the wall, but watch the hesitation here. They say, okay, maybe we can actually turn. I don't think they realized how many members were here, because Chris starts going back in, then Light's in trouble as he's being slowed down.
Yeah, I don't think they expected Chase to TP in. He had the TP advantage, and they thought, okay, the Shy's in position to follow up, but Carzzy flashes forward, doesn't get hit up by the Shy, finishes off the Kalista, and at this stage, they're just able to follow up perfectly onto the play. Mad, that was beautiful stuff.
I feel like if the Shy had got like one more Q, maybe everyone dies, but the layering of CC from Mad, absolutely fantastic. And they're keeping themselves in it. They are, in fact, ahead in gold. As you have a look at the gold difference over time powered by AWS, it was all looking Weibo. And now the Mad Lions have come alive.
It is looking like a massive swing there. And even if Shy had just gotten there a little bit earlier to actually be able to go for that engage when Light was still alive, but he was just so low. There was that brief moment of hesitation where Light and Chris weren't sure, can we take this fight? Can we not take that fight? Chris took that one step forward, and Carsey just went for him.
And now that's given Nisqy the opportunity to pick up his Zanya's Hourglass. That makes him so much more difficult for Weibo to deal with in these team fights. Even the positioning that Weibo or the Mad Lions have on things like Dragon in 35 seconds as well, it's going to make this much easier for them to get a second Dragon, try and keep Weibo in check as well.
But there is a Rift Herald in the hands of Weibo. They were able to get Weiwei into that pit to collect the eye. Yes, it ended up meaning that he overextended, did fall down, but now they can use that to get some control of this river. Unless Weiwei dies, just takes a bit of damage. Of course, pretty tanky is the Rel, but still, Weibo Gaming use that, and they get the ability to walk into the river.
Now, this is a big question here for Mad. You just won a big fight, but are you willing to actually take this? There's no flash on Carzzy. There's no flash on Nisqy. The Shy does have flash, as does Crisp, and You have to be careful. If you enter this fight and you do lose heavily, Weibo are going to be massively in the lead again.
It's only second dragon for both of these teams. You don't necessarily feel forced to fight for this one, but it gives you so much extra tempo. One singular Infernal is also a fair bit of damage. As you can see, on the flank angle is Elyoya. Can he actually get in there? Looks like Xiaohu is going to spot him out, but Elyoya had already vacated the area. Light wants to get as many of these sticks into the Drake as possible to make sure they skew the 50-50 if it does come down to that. As Hex Flash being channeled here by Hylissang. That was a bit of a jump scare as Vault Breaker gets Elyoya over the wall, but he's away from the Drake. We are just posturing for position on both sides. The volley's raining down, though, actually kind of decent.
Niski.
And there is the hostile takeover. Weiwei gonna have to crash down to get out of the way of that, and they're looking to burst the Drake. They do manage to take it, but can they win the ensuing fight? It's a good charm to connect, but Chasey's just able to dash his way out. Hylissang just gonna be the sacrificial cow. I think Mad might say that that's okay, unless Niski gets caught out. It's so much money if he is going to fall down, but it's not him, it's Kazi that dies. And the Mad Lions, they'll have to walk away with 2 dead.
Mad thought they could burst at the Dragon quick enough and get away scot-free, but the return from Chris buys the time that they need, and the chase down potential with Xiaohu means they just can't get away. 2 kills going over for the sake of that Dragon.
Really great angle there from Crisp on the ulti. Niski wanted to use this basically as a zoning ult to just force them off, so they go for the finish here. You can see that they're trying to burst it down. They are able to do it, but look at that positioning from Chris over the wall. Catches 4 of them, if not 5. He maybe even tagged Hilly with the very angle. Chasey's able to flash and get out, but Hilly was always going to be that one to go down. The problem is, Carzzy, no flash, no real way out. We're back to live. Light could be in trouble.
Yeah, there's the cease and desist. Niski's going to be able to connect the chains. The Everfrost, and he just goes down in an instant.
And that's exactly what Mad Lions need to do in the team fights, but they weren't able to in that last one. If Weibo were able to group up and prevent that access from Elyoya and Niski, you can see they have the turnaround. But now the Baron is up and available, but I don't think they can go for it at the moment.
For a second, I was like, these guys are crazy. Everyone's walking up towards it. Like, that would be very brave, to put it lightly. But Niski, 7-0-2. Absolutely is the hope for Mad in this game. We'll see if he can keep this pressure rolling, because he is monstrously ahead of Xiaohu.
I mean, this mid-jungle combo is something that we kind of missed from Mad Lions and LEC. We got to see it a little bit towards the... hang on. Are we going this? We got to see it a little bit, but it kind of just fell away to the wayside as the year started to progress. And now we're actually starting to get to see Elyoya and Niski working in tandem once more. And that is a gold lead for sure.
That's a decent one. That is 3,000. Yeah, it's a very good item in the lead, is Niski right now. It does also put a big target on his back as well, and so that's a 700 gold shutdown. And that could mean a bit of a swing here for Weibo Gaming if they can actually get a team fight, but still, feels like you say, Rob, it is the Light versus Niski matchup that we're going to have to keep our eye on, and so far, it's Niski that's come out on top in that one.
And Light's not really as threatening as he was earlier, right? His advantage has kind of gone away largely, and they took away that dragon advantage. You know, it's 2 dragons, 2 Mad. They're going to be able to take down this top tier one. They're in a great spot. I feel that they are definitely in the advantage at this point. You know, Weibo wanted to be the ones getting every single objective with this early advantage they have from the Kalista, but they just haven't been able to make it happen.
And this is where, even though Carzzy's behind, he still gets to have relevance, right? Because if you've got Niski and Elyoya playing for side lanes, all right, cool, let's just fire an Ash Arrow over there. We'll see if we can kind of fish for someone. If it lands, fantastic. We can immediately jump in on top of them. But it is those picks that I think Mad Lions still have to try and play for to a certain extent. Because we can see when Weibo are all grouped up as a unit, it actually becomes very difficult for you to play the dive style that Mad want to go for.
And when Niski actually completes the death cap, he is going to be ridiculously strong. Has both of the pieces there. The double large rod already has 10 stacks on the Dark Seal as well to be amplified by that death cap. So they really want to try to shut him down soon if they can. But it's Weibo playing towards this top side, playing towards this Baron. Do they feel that they're in a desperate enough spot to start it is the real question here.
They do have a lot of secure on the Baron with the Blade of the Ruined King. The fact that Light does have the Rend available, not quite as good as it used to be.
They're going to try to force the TP from Niski.
I wouldn't mind it.
Oh, Elyoya!
Oh dear, there's the flash forward. Don't waste any time as Weiwei's looking to lock down the jungle, and they just destroy him. The Shy also found on the flank of the fight, but Kazi Gonna get him out of there. And now with no jungler, can they actually do anything about this? That's a great sidestep from the Shy, but it may not keep him alive as he wants to Umbral Dash over this wall, and he is gonna be able to do so. Meanwhile, the Baron is getting taken down solo. There's no smite to get into this pit. They have to try and win a fight. We'll see what Niski can do. He avoids hostile takeovers now. Now they dive in. They pull out the Shy.
Weiwei's down.
Weiwei's down. There's no smite in the pit. It's Shalu that locks down the Baron. And now the bailout is going to come through. It almost works onto life, but doesn't quite get there. Mad, it's a decent fight, but they don't get the Baron.
It's absolute insanity in the pit there, as Weibo are lucky to walk away with that one as Mad focus down Weiwei. They get the kill on him after this pick onto Elyoya. They managed this really well.
I think Elyoya just needed the flash. He had it available, but was a little bit greedy, maybe not expecting that many members of Weibo to show up. But also then when you come into this, you can see the position here. Niski goes for the Ari Charm to try and position onto the back line, but Weibo able to dash out. They're then using the wall for safety. And then Xiao, who just barely, with his dying breath, gets in over the wall to secure the Baron in favor of Weibo.
Yeah, they get that, and that is huge for Weibo, because had they lost that, they lost the fight on top. But here's sole point for Matt, uncontested. And Elyoya.
I'm not going to lie, I actually think that getting sole point here and the fact that they managed to tidy up some of the kills kind of evens out the trade a little bit more, unless we see this Red Bull Baron power play get completely out of control. Currently about 2 minutes on that one, as Weibo Gaming look to try and utilize that to get some of these side lanes in order. Xiaohu walking towards enemy vision. Doesn't have a whole lot of information as Niski's gonna find him. That's the solo bolo. This guy's just out of control. 9-0-4.
No one can stop him. The death cap is completed, and it's Niski v9 crushing it in this first game against Weibo.
I mean, what a performance from Niski. I think he's had an absolutely stellar tournament. We're saying coming into this game, like, Niski has been a top performer for Mad, and he's making damn sure everyone knows it. Phenomenal stuff right now, as they're looking to see if they can use that pick now to get the mid lane turret, get push in mid, get the vision that they need in this top side, and start to threaten this tier 2 and top side.
Niski now going to get this push happening, trying to come to terms with what's happening here. Not over yet, though, of course. Still, Weibo Gaming with a lot of team fighting capability, and that Baron that is still there. There's a Magnet Storm to fly forward as Niski has a big target on his back, but also has a big stun with that Everfrost. He now needs to try and run away from this one. There are 4 Weibo members looking for him, but he's got enough dashes. He will be okay. He also has a Magnet Storm of his own as Hylissang's looking for a potential re-engage opportunity. They're not going to quite get that.
I just get to back away, though, and you can look at mid lane. They've already got position there, and so Niski's just going to keep this up. Bait them in. Xiao, who wants it, though?
If at first you don't succeed, you try and dive on top of him again. He manages to avoid the Everfrost. There's the Magnet Storm. Is the arrow's going to connect as well? Niski, does he have the cooldowns? The answer's no. And 1,000 gold goes to Light in exchange for maybe their base.
Exactly, it's the base. That's the problem here. The Shy is back. They're all basing, so they have to be respectful of this. Mad don't want to get caught leaving here, but it is the 1K shutdown over onto Light.
I mean, Baron's supposed to help you crack the base, but I didn't think it was supposed to be on Mad's side. Weibo have done are trying so hard to keep Mad lines away, stop Niski, but he's such a massive threat that when they commit everyone, they've already got the push from Karzi in mid lane. So Xiaohu, this is the initial pick, sets Niski up then to be that threat in the side lane. And then
I've never seen a chain
it's gone
from like an abductive scond hit for that much. Like, that was absurd.
That was 30-40% of his HP. The Everfrost slow connects. Niski tries to look for the turn here. He was always slated to go down because the rest of his team is not there, but they're just trying to buy some time. Karzi throws in the Ash Arrow, see if they can make something happen. But Niski does fall, and you can see the gold swinging a little bit back towards Weibo with that. But at the same time, Mad cracked the base, and Weibo are just kind of roaming around as a squad. They're saying, you know what? This game cannot slow down like this. We can't allow them to play through side lanes. No one can answer Niski. We just need to start fights, and we just need to outplay them if we're going to win this game.
They need to try and get the fights on their own terms as well. You can see Mad trying to hold on to vision priority in their own jungle. It's not necessarily working out with the Shy protecting that control ward. Hylissang in a bit of trouble. He's going to break the chains. Doesn't have a lot of great places to go, but he's going to be able to get back to the rest of his team.
I love the Anathema's pickup from Weiwei, though. Being able to put that onto Niski, not only does it give you the extra little bit of CC on him, the fact that you're not going to take as much damage from him is such a massive pickup here, because Karzi is actually starting to do damage, like has the Triforce working towards that Blade of the Rune King, but when Niski's this much of a problem and you need to frontline, that's a really smart pickup from Weiwei on that second item.
Just waiting for this next objective fight, because both of these big objectives coming up at exactly the same time is fantastic for Mad. They're the ones with Soul Point. They can give away a singular Drake, but if they manage to get themselves a Baron, they've already got an open front door to walk through.
Absolutely, but you have to look at the vision over on this top side from Weibo. Like, this is
That's a lot of Baron
huge
vision,
amount
yeah.
of vision in this area. There are just so many wards up there. So we'll see if Mad can kind of clear that out, can maintain vision. You know, they, I think, should be playing towards this Soul Wing condition. I think that almost secures it. When you're looking at how much damage Niski is doing, if you add in the Infernal Soul, it is going to get impossible, it feels like, for Weibo to do anything.
Oh, the Shy get a face check. There's a headbutt pulse, but the rest of the team are going to be there because that's just been the last bit of time with Weibo. Chasey looking for a flank angle, but Light is going to spot him immediately, gets him out of there. Hylissang spotted on a ward. Now the volleys are flying in. The Shy might be cornered here. Another headbutt pulve is going to come through. Goredrinker comes down. He's staying alive for so incredibly long. Elyoya goes golden. They're trying to keep themselves alive, but the hostile takeover is massive. So much damage, and Niski shut down immediately. And now Chasey, nothing he can do. Kazi's trying to stay alive, and they are all just dropping the flash forward, and the Shy will finish it off.
The Shy was not the target that you needed to pick, man. They all jump onto him and Weibo come out on top.
Yeah, they push out mid. They're going to go back towards the Dragon, and they could probably get the Baron off this as well. They got shredded by the hostile takeover. Elyoya going to look to try to steal this away. If he could get it, would be massive. Does have one pink ward, but can't do it too early, or it gives away that he's there.
See whether he does time it correctly. He's charging the Vault Breaker. Can he get in there? And the answer is no, because he doesn't even go for it. Didn't want to sacrifice himself for this because it would have meant Baron as well.
I think it might still mean Baron, but no, they're not actually going to attempt it. They're just going to take the reset.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think you're actually in a good spot here, as Matt, as long as you don't overcommit to this. But you can see here, they all turn onto the Shy, but he managed to have the Sterix, the Goredrinker, the Aatrox healing. There is so much that keeps him alive, and now you've all overcommitted way into the position for Weiwei, and Karzi's just playing catch-up this whole fight. You've got Crisp and also the Callista are doing so much work. There's little that you can do here as Matt.
And Crisp had a really nice R flash there to actually redirect it to get the right angle, to get it through those multiple members of Mad, create that space for his team. Look at the team fight damage from Light. If you create space for this guy, he's going to make it work, and Niski on the other side got nothing done.
And I think it's lack of patience from Mad. If you'd actually play that slow, draw Weibo into position where you can set up for flanks, that's perfect. Now, though, they do have those flanks, and Weibo needs to be careful.
Here's an opportunity for Mad to try and answer back, but Weibo Gaming are ready. The arrow is going to sail by majestically, but not going to get anything done. As Mad still trying to get in position, but Weibo Gaming just walk away. They're going to try and look for a better opportunity, find the opportune fight for themselves. This might be it. There's the Flash Magnustorm. Only under 2, though, at this time, but there's the Fate's Call. They try and get him away once again as Weiwei is going to get executed. And now, with the amount of disengage that's happened, Mad have regrouped. And it's the Shy that's trying to desperately get something done here. Spirit Rush from Niski going to be utilized to move forward, but that is just a clean pick onto the jungler. I've seen this story before.
And that's the patience I was talking about. Hilly, though, needs to be getting over the wall.
Oh dear, the Infernal Chains are going to come down. He's just dead. He does manage to get a headbutt, but that is going to be it. He hasn't bought enough time, and Mad are going to have to back away from the Baron.
JC Flash Q.
All right, now it's the Shy that's trying to get in here. Fate's Call gets a knock up onto Kazi, the priority target, but Chasey is trying to get this one done. Into the backline goes Elyoya, but Niski is charmed and destroyed immediately. Kazi goes all out, he's trying to get Light, and now, oh, he's gonna get that one working. Chasey's going to fall down, and the Shy is just too big to deal with.
Chasey tried to split up the fight, tried to take Light out of it, but the GA making the difference. The bailout bot time. Xiaohu pushes up mid. They're going to be able to take this tier 3 down in mid lane. Weibo just straight up outplaying in the team fights. The Shy making it happen. Chris making it happen. This team is looking immaculate in the 5v5, and they're stepping forward. They want to close it out right now, Atlas.
And even with that first pick going off, is now Elyoya is just out of the fight before he could even get it started. Hylissang, he is just going to fall, and the Nexus turrets will follow suit. It's a double kill for this Callista. 11, 3, and 8. He started with so much money, he only continued earning more as the Nexus goes down, and Weibo Gaming will take game 1.
Weibo showcased their 5v5 class. This team is incredible in the team fight. Most teams, I think, in the position that Mad was in would have crumbled against them. but the way that they navigate these 5v5s, the way that they're able to split it up and make these skirmishes happen on both sides is really something to behold.
And massive plays. Both